NERDSoul.
Why are you a black man in love? Hey y'all, welcome once again to Black Together, a walk in her shoes. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, NERDSoul, for allowing us to be on your platform. I am here with my partner in crime, my sister cousin, my girl, Kim, aka Madam Buddaphlai. Say what's up.
Peace, love, and light, everybody.
All right. And I am Lisa, aka Lady Lisa. You can check us out every Friday. Once again, Black Together, a walk in her shoes, where we are just discussing several events, ideas, just things from a Black woman's point of view, and issues that really concern us directly as Black women. We would like for you to check out ThatNERDSoul.com. NERDSoul has a variety of videos, movie reviews, TV show reviews, music, all kinds of things to check out. So again, that's ThatNERDSoul.com. And you can shop ThatNERDSoul.com. It is the holiday season. Get yourself or someone else a t-shirt, sweatshirt, etc. All right. So let's jump into today. What do we have in our shoebox today, Madam Buddaphlai?
Today we have an open-toe Pro Care post-operative medical boot because we are talking about making decisions from a place of brokenness.
Well, that's not even a whole shoe. So that's quite appropriate.
I thought so.
All right.
Yeah, we not gonna try to put this in a pump. We're not gonna try to put it in a flat. None of that. We just gonna snap that Velcro on because this foot is mangled.
We're not gonna put
Okay.
it in the pump where it's the foot meat coming out the top.
Yeah, we gonna wrap all of that mangulation up in Velcro. That's what we gonna do. We gonna keep it pushing.
Okay. So we're gonna start with this was a video that I believe someone shared. I can't recall who. But yeah, someone shared on Facebook. And it's by Steve Harvey. It's a segment in his show called Straight Talk. And it's a panel of, I believe it was 3 women.
Yes.
Where they just discuss different topics about relationships, dating, etc. So the topic was ordering expensive food on the first date. And I believe did they give a specific scenario?
Yes. It was a student. A student taking a woman out on a date, and I believe she ordered a lobster dinner, knowing that he was a student.
And it
so
totaled,
then,
if I remember, almost $200.
something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the question was basically posed, is that an appropriate thing to do in general and specific to the situation with him being a student and the assumption that, as a student, he may not have that kind of money to spend on a date. Is that something that's an appropriate thing to do?
I'm going to let you begin.
Okay, so there were 3 women. One woman was truly bothered by this woman ordering an expensive meal. In particular, she was bothered because this person was a student.
Right.
And it just seemed to her kind of a disrespectful thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
The second woman was more along. She felt more like the man should have done his due diligence to make sure that the restaurant um, was not financially beyond his means.
Mm-hmm.
And the third woman was just kind of like, I'm gonna do what I want to do. This is what I'm accustomed. This is how I'm accustomed to living. And so, if he wants to take me out, he has to uh, live up to the standard. Basically, I think I'm paraphrasing without
Yeah.
any gum popping or neck rolling. So, um, here's my thing. I On one hand, I do understand that whomever is taking a person out on a date should do their research to make sure that they can afford the place. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that I don't think that a man specifically has to be the one that pays.
Right. I
Um,
agree.
that just I guess that just depends on the conversation beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
If I call you and I ask you to dinner, then I'm treating you to dinner. That's the
Right.
way I see it,
Yeah.
regardless of who's the man and who's the woman in the situation.
Yeah.
Um, so on one hand, I would say, if I know that I'm paying, I'm not going to take someone somewhere where it would stretch me beyond what I'm willing to pay.
Yeah.
That's one part of it. The other part of it is that I don't care what I am accustomed to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have respect for somebody else's pockets when they are taking me out.
Yeah.
Because how do we really know one way or the other what somebody's pockets are? I
Yeah.
mean, the guy could have been well off. Just because he's a student doesn't mean anything. Like, he could have parents that are well off that's financing his life.
True.
That very well could be. To me, it doesn't really matter whether he's a student or a tycoon or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to order something that I couldn't pay for myself or that I
Right.
wouldn't pay for myself.
Right.
So, I'm not going to put myself in a position where I order food and then I can't pay for it because I decided that I wanted to, make it rain in the restaurant or
Yeah.
whatever, on somebody else's dime. I just feel
Yeah.
like that's disrespectful
Mm-hmm.
and inconsiderate.
I agree.
What do you think?
I agree. I am kind of with you in with what one of the ladies was saying is, um, if you're taking someone out, you shouldn't go somewhere, um, where someone can get something that is completely out of your range. If
Hmm.
you have an Applebee's budget, don't take someone to Roots Chris. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's just you have to protect your own pockets.
right,
You shouldn't have to go into debt to take someone out on a date,
right.
right? But
Hmm.
because you don't know what this person is going to do, it's the first date, you got to protect your own pockets. That's how I
Right.
see that. But on the flip side, have some decency. Think about someone other than yourself.
Hmm.
The date is not supposed to be about how much he can afford to pay for a meal. The date is
Hmm.
supposed to be about two people getting to know each other and spending some time together.
Right,
I mean, what are you really trying to accomplish? Are you testing him? What are you doing? He's not a lab rat. You know what I
right.
mean? It's just, to me, it's honestly disgusting. It's selfish, it's
Hmm.
disgusting, it's self-centered, it's narcissistic, it's all of those things to me.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what else to say about it. But huh, to talk about our sister, the sister on the panel who went in about, well, I'm used to, a certain standard and, living a certain way. And so he just gonna have, why it had to be the sister? I just, that just made my chest warm. because that's so ridiculous. It just sounds so petty. It just sounds petty to me. This is a first date.
Right.
It's a first date. Again, it's not about seeing what's in his pockets.
Right.
It's supposed to be about two people, again, getting to know each other, having a good time. Not you trying to see how much you can spend at one time. It's
Right.
just, yeah, I don't like it. And I was offended that the sister just kept going in hard about it.
Right. Well, I'm going to say this, and I tend to go off on tangents at times, but um, one of the things that I thought about was, that this whole idea of the American dream and everything that comes with that. It was interesting to me, like you said, the sister, the only sister on the panel, had this idea of, well, I sent him to the store. He asked me, he need to bring anything for the date? And I, told him to bring this $250 bottle of wine because I drink the $250 bottle of wine myself. So he should be able to bring that as well. And the person brought it, and they actually ended up getting married, which that's a whole other story. But here's something that I thought about. Um, as Black women, we have to be conscientious of the fact that we are bombarded with images of the European way of dating
Mm,
and marriage and finances and all of that, because we are under a blanket of systemic issues that can hinder us from experiencing that whole dating interaction
hmm.
in the way that our European counterparts do.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, in and this is generally speaking, of course, in a European situation, they may have a long line of daddy's money, mommy's
Mm,
money,
hmm.
where they can take a woman out for this, that, and the third. And it's something that's totally normal. And it's something that is expected. And it's something that's shown on TV and movies and all of this kind of stuff. And then we're watching that as Black women.
Yeah.
And so we're having this expectation of our Black men without recognizing that we operate under a different set of circumstances.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not to say that, Black men don't have money or any of that stuff. But when you go into the situation with this sense of entitlement that, when you're taking on a date, this person is supposed to be in this certain financial group
Hmm.
in order to meet your demands, I think it's kind of unreasonable when you
Yeah.
look on the grander scale, um, of, of all of the circumstances that we are dealing with,
Yeah.
you know?
I agree. And this is the other thing that I think women in general don't look at. We always want to think about and talk about what we're looking for when we go out on a date, with a man. But he's also looking at you.
Right.
So you're going out trying to test his pockets, I'll
Hmm.
say. Well, he's going out trying to see how disrespectful and maybe even hood you are.
Hmm.
He might say, you know what? She ordered this lobster dinner. I'm gonna pay for it, but she better enjoy this lobster dinner because it's the last one she gonna get from me.
Right.
You know?
Or the expectation of, okay, I paid $100 for your food, so now I have an expectation that we're gonna sleep together
Yep.
because when it was a comedian, I can't remember what comedian it was, and he was like, you understand that this side of the menu is the we going home, we going
Yeah.
home side of the menu. You know what I mean? So it's like if you have this expectation of the man to do certain things for you, you
Mm,
can't clutch the pearls if he
mm,
has an expectation from, of you.
exactly.
So that's not to say that a man, should pressure a woman. Nobody's saying anything like that. It's like you always have to give these disclaimers because
Hmm.
people like to, whenever they feel convicted in their spirit about something that's being said, they got to find some kind of way to make a mockery of what it is that you say.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So
Mm,
nobody's condoning pressure or sexual violence or any of that kind of nonsense. This is simply about what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And if
yeah.
you are using your looks, your body, your physicality as currency
Mm,
to be able to get your lobster dinner,
mm.
then understand at the end of the night you got to cash in your chips, boo boo.
Girl.
That's all I'm saying.
Look, that's real.
It's real.
That is real. Now, are both of those uh extreme and wrong? Yep. But if
Yep.
you're gonna be extreme and wrong, like you said, don't clutch your pearls when he extreme and wrong. Because the
Exactly.
thing is, he may not have even come on that date with that frame of mind.
Right.
He may have come on that date hoping to have a good time with a nice young lady. But
Hmm.
here you come,
Hmm.
Miss Lobster Dinner for almost $200. While he over there probably got to get a Caesar salad and some lemon water. He want to eat too.
Right. Right.
Just the
Well, and this,
selfishness of it.
well, and I always thought about this, and maybe I'm crazy for even taking this into consideration. But I consider myself to be a realist. And my thing is, okay, if you're taking me on a date, 9 times out of 10, you're taking other women on dates. When you start adding all of those dates up, that could be pretty expensive,
Yeah.
right? So I'm not going to go in trying to juice you because you're trying to find the right person for you, just like I'm trying to find the right person for me.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to go into it like, oh, let me bang him in the head with this
Yeah.
lobster dinner,
Yeah.
knowing that the reality is he's probably gonna have another date in another week or so, or maybe even that same week. You know
Well,
what I
I'm not
mean?
having consideration for his budget for another date. I mean, that's a little too advanced. You are on a higher level than me. Okay. Sorry. You left me. I'm not considering your budget for another date. However,
Lisa, black men's wallets matter, okay?
okay. I will consider that you still need to eat another day yourself. I'll consider you still need lights, you still need water, gas in your car. If you're a student, you need books. I'll consider that. I ain't think about your other little raggedy dates. I'm sorry. I'm not, yeah. No, that didn't occur to me. But, yeah,
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's
that's very
funny.
enlightened of you. I'm not there.
I never even thought about that until you just now said it to me. Like, am I real? Like, was I tripping?
Yeah,
Was I taking it too far?
yeah, yeah, yeah. See, that's when someone is in a place where they truly and genuinely don't feel like they need a man. I want one, but I don't need one. To the extent of I'm considerate of you finding someone else.
Whew. Yes, indeed. Oh my God, that makes me think of, a few years back, and my son was like, "I don't think you want a man." I said, "Why do you say that?" "Because you're just too comfortable. You're too comfortable in your room and in your space doing what you want to do." Like,
What you
yeah.
supposed to be doing in your room, dragging yourself across the floor?
I guess I'm supposed to be watching TV till TV go off, like Lenny Williams.
Oh my god! supposed to be laying prostrate in prayer every night in tears till a man come along. Live your life.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
So funny. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget
That
the
is funny.
expression on his face and everything. Like he was
Oh,
so serious.
oh my gosh. And I can already see your face when he said it.
I was just
Mm.
like, dang, like that's what kind of made me start, I guess, actively dating again. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
That'll do
Because
it.
yeah, because I was just like, well, dang, I am comfortable. And
Yeah.
maybe that's not necessarily a good thing if the
Mhm.
overall objective is to find somebody to
Right.
share
Because you ain't
your
gonna
life
find him in
with.
your bedroom, I hope.
Right.
That's a whole
Right.
nother
Like,
show.
I was just doing exactly what I wanted to do, and it was great. And for
Yeah.
the people out there who have been like in back-to-back long-term relationships,
Mhm.
they can identify with that experience. It's like when you finally have an opportunity to just be free,
Mhm.
it's a whole other experience. But you do have to be careful, because if you ultimately want to find that right person, you can't you can't get too set in your ways and too settled, because you got to merge your life with somebody at some point, and that's going to be
Yeah.
tough. But anyway,
Yeah.
I know we went way off of the path on that
Yeah,
one.
but it's all good. Yeah, that was funny. Um, so let's take a break and let's go into our segment in your Black business. Who are we discovering today, Kim?
Today's In Your Black Business feature is Curo Brand. Curo is a Virginia-based apparel brand influenced by streetwear, art, culture, and modern design practices. Curo means black in Japanese. What black means for the Curo owners is mystery, power, authority, elegance, and prestige. As the name suggests, the color black is always a main staple in the basic ongoing collection, with seasonal capsule collections that brings various pops of color. The modus operandi they promote is all lessons, no losses, fly or die, and be good or be good at it. They have comfortable fits for both men and women, with kid sizes coming soon. Be sure to check out the shop at www.curobrand.com. That's www.kurobrand.com.
All right. And I have actually looked at some things on the Cure Brand website and they have some hotness for real. So check them out. All right. So now we are going to move to footnotes, which is a fairly new segment we have where we just talk about topics that kind of, popped up after, we've already planned our show and that are just too good not to squeeze on in there. So I know some of you have heard about this Black owned restaurant in Dallas where there was a twerking incident. The owner decided he wanted to have a DJ come in and play music for people to enjoy while they were eating their meals. This is a restaurant. It's not a restaurant slash club or anything like that. It is a restaurant. Okay. There were some young ladies at about 3 of the tables who decided that the music was just so good. They needed to get up to rise, stand up in this man's seats. Some lean on the windows and twerk.
What? They what?
Yes, ma'am.
They stood in the chairs and
Mhm.
leaned on the windows and twerked
Uh-huh.
amongst all manner of folk.
Yes. Yes. Mhm.
Oddly enough, this kind of does go with the topic
It
because
does.
it really does. Because this need for attention,
Mm.
that I see commonly in young Black women in particular, where, you know, they have to twerk, they have to be loud, they have to be just noticed
Mhm.
in some kind of way. It's like all attention is good
Yep.
attention to them.
Yep.
There's no
Positive
such
or
thing as,
negative. Yeah.
yeah. I just it saddens me. It actually saddens me because it speaks to a heart condition.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That, like, it really does. And for me, like, my I feel like my purpose in life, my passion is, you know, the healing
Mhm.
of young Black girls, young Black women, or just young Black people in general,
Yeah.
coming out of childhood trauma and that type
Mhm.
of thing. So my first thought, even though, I haven't seen the video yet, but just my first thought is, what is going on in the heart and mind of young women who think that it's okay to stand in the chair at a restaurant
Mhm.
and twerk
Mhm.
around somebody's chicken and potato salad? I'm just saying. Now, I don't know if they serve chicken and
Maybe
potato
they thought
salad.
it needed some seasoning.
All
Yeah.
I'm saying is, I don't want your tailwind brushing up against my plate. That's all I'm saying. Like, I should be able to
Well, how
go
much
into
booty do
this.
you think they have?
I don't know. I'm just saying. I should feel confident that I can walk into an establishment, sit down to a meal without having the essence of someone's tailwind brushing up against my steak. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, is that unreasonable? Is that an unreasonable request? Am I tripping? I need to know.
Okay.
You gotta let me know.
Okay. Wait a minute. Oh.
Oh my gosh, y'all.
Well, when
Lady
you explain
Lisa
it
is
that way,
wiping
then
the tears from her eyes right now. So you gotta bear with her for a second.
Oh. I
Oh,
mean, when you break it down that way, maybe people can see how offensive it really was.
yeah.
Because this is the kicker, Kim. People were more upset with the owner who pretty much came out later and went off. But let me take it back. Okay. There again, I think I told you this earlier, but there are several videos out there. A lot of them of people talking about it and reviewing it. I've yet to find uh the video that someone took of the incident without anything else added to it.
Mhm.
From what I've seen, it's supposed to be like a 53-second video. And I believe it doesn't show the actual twerking, but it begins with the owner trying to come to those young ladies at their tables and saying, please, would you ladies please not do this? Would you just sit down? So from what I understand, he went to them twice and asked them to stop. I'm sorry, 3 times and asked them to stop. And he did end up kicking them out.
Mhm.
And after he kicked them out, he pretty much made a big announcement to the whole restaurant. If there's anybody else in here that thinks this is appropriate, you can be out. And he went on to say, I try to emphasize to Black men to be respectful of y'all, because he had a lot of mostly Black women in there. He said, but how can I tell them to be respectful to you when this is what
Woo!
y'all doing?
Oh yes, you better preach.
And they were so offended by that.
Was he white?
No,
Okay.
this is a black owned establishment. So
Wow.
everybody in there is just blackness. It's all blackness, right?
I
And
don't
my
see
thing is,
anything wrong with what he
if
said.
I'm in there, I don't see anything wrong with what he said either. You know,
Yeah.
some people are saying he cussed and people are adding things. And if he cussed, look, this is his place of business. And
Right.
y'all done came up in here trying to make it a club. It's a restaurant. And he named a few clubs and he said, if that's what you want to do, you can take it here, you can take it there, but
Right.
not here. And it was
Right.
a nice restaurant, you know. So it's amazing to me um that I think this is what sparked it. There are two young women who have a podcast who went on Twitter pretty much saying, get his business shut down. He's disrespectful
Wow.
to, yeah, ain't that
Are
something?
you kidding
He's
me?
disrespectful to black women. He said he don't need black money, which is not what he said. Yeah,
Wow. So this
yeah.
man is actually trying to set a standard in
Hmm.
his own establishment
How dare
that
he?
that that requires respect, not only for the women to be respected, but for the women to show respect for themselves. And that's
And each
somehow
other.
problematic. Because see, I was what my initial thought was when you said, that they were having an issue with him. The reason I said, well, was he white? Because I was like, okay, maybe they're trying to turn it into, this white man is trying to, impose whatever. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
that was my thought as a possibility, that not that justifies it at all.
Hmm.
Just I'm trying to rationalize how somebody could find fault
Yeah.
with their virtue being protected.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's
And that's
and not
something.
only that, you're going to harm this man's livelihood
Hmm.
by being an internet gangster.
Mm.
And it's like, for what? Because at the end of the day, it's about, if people are behaving in a way that is inappropriate, they should be called to the carpet. And
Right.
that's one of the things I think that this generation is lacking. Because when we were kids, whoever was closest to you snatched a knot in you, and it was
Hmm.
totally okay. It
Yep.
didn't matter whether it was aunties, uncles, whomever. A
Hmm.
person of authority was a person of authority. All of
Yeah.
the adults that were in the room were people of authority.
Yeah.
And you got checked for your bad behavior.
Yeah.
But
If you
now nobody
dare to
wants.
act a monkey donkey fool, in
Exactly.
front of all of these adults.
Exactly. But now nobody wants anybody to say anything to their kids. Nobody can say any. Black women have been through so much and our plight and all of this, so we can't be corrected. We can't be, chastised in any way for our poor behavior. No. Like some of that behavior, some behavior needs to be checked.
It does. And not only that, if you didn't even take that into consideration, this is his business, his restaurant.
Hmm.
If he says he don't want you standing up in his chair twerking, which is not, unreasonable, then don't do it. Why he got to come to you 3 times?
Right.
Like you don't comprehend. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just straight disrespect.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if
Straight
they don't have
disrespect.
respect for themselves, how are they gonna respect him?
That's true.
You know?
But it's funny how, some people want to say that, well, it wasn't necessary for him to cuss and it wasn't necessary for him to say something to everybody in there. He was upset and he had
But
every
it
right
wasn't
to be. You were
necessary for
being
them to.
just,
I mean, come on.
yeah,
How is it necessary to stand in a chair and twerk in a restaurant
right.
next to my chicken and potato salad?
But
How is that necessary?
she go hard for her chicken and potato salad. Don't mess with Kim's chicken and potato salad. Um, yeah, I love how people want to skip over the initial offense
Right.
and go straight to how he's supposed to respond. Like
Right.
you don't get to offend someone and
Mhm.
choose how they respond.
Yes.
That's not how this works. And
Right.
it makes me angry because then it's pushing further this agenda of black men against black women.
Right. I agree.
And it's embarrassing because it's like, and some people have made the comment that he shouldn't have had a DJ.
What?
Well,
So
are we not able to control ourselves?
let me get this straight. So this man spends additional money to enhance his customers' experience in his restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And he's at fault
Mm-hmm.
because these chicks cannot resist the urge in their pelvis to twerk. Like, how does that make sense? And this is here's something that comes to mind. These internet gangsters who decided to try to shut this man down.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how they would have felt if men in that establishment would have gone up to these twerking girls and started groping them.
Mm-hmm.
What position would they have taken? Would they have expected the owner to take control of the situation
Mm-hmm.
and put the guys out of the restaurant or call the police on the guys or anything like that, because basically he's protecting everyone who's in there by
Mm-hmm.
taking a stand. So, you know, if you're going to be mad at him for saying there has to be some decorum in this place,
Mm-hmm.
would you be mad at him if he just let everything run amok and people got violated?
Mm-hmm.
It's I just
It's
don't.
ridiculous. And when I read that comment, shouldn't have had a DJ. You can't have a DJ and then um, get upset when they respond to the culture or however they put it. And it's like, I don't care if Biggie Smalls came back from the dead and did a live concert up in that piece. You do not get up and twerk in a restaurant. And
Uh,
if you didn't know, you knew after he asked you not to do it the first time.
exactly.
You knew not to do it after he
Exactly.
asked you the second time.
Right.
If you
Right.
didn't know, you didn't know. Maybe you thought it was one of those places where you can dance a little bit, get a piece of chicken, a scoop of potato salad, twerk for a little bit, work it off, go back, have some more. I don't know. I ain't been here before. Maybe that's what this is. But he came to you and said, no, no, no. You know.
That's just mind boggling. And what I thought about was um, the TGI Fridays chains.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them have DJs on the weekends
Mm-hmm.
after a certain time,
Mm-hmm.
and you can go to the bar, you can sit at a booth or a table or whatever and eat your food and listen to the music,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a nice vibe or
Yeah.
whatever. It's
Now,
like
and they could get live in there sometimes. That music goes hard sometimes, but you don't see anybody jumping up next to their riblets, you know, twerking.
but I think that speaks volumes to the level of respect that we have when it comes to Black businesses. Because we can go into establishments that are owned, run, operated by our European counterparts and behave with all of the decorum in the
Mm-hmm.
world. But when we go to Black owned establishments, there's a different type of thinking
Yeah.
for some.
Yeah.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
So, wow.
This is really a trip to me. And, it just made it. that much worse when those two young ladies want to go in and pretty much start a campaign to get this man's business shut down. For what?
That's
Why
crazy.
why why is it so hard for y'all to not help push this agenda of black men against black women? Why is that so hard?
That,
Why can't we
that coming
hold each
from
other accountable?
that brokenness. Sometimes that brokenness will not allow you to see the forest for the trees. That's just, it's a filter,
Can't see the
and
forest
that's
with a
not
gump.
it's not to make a justification for bad behavior. So in no way am I doing that. What I'm saying is that, you know, there is cause and effect.
Yeah.
And when we recognize what lens we're looking through, then we know how to interact or operate within that space.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, the there probably is a root of man hating and, you know, the new feminism idea of female superiority
Mm.
and, you know, senses of entitlement. Like there's probably a root of all of that
Yeah.
that, kind of spurned this foolishness on.
Yeah. Because
I
you're
don't
right.
I just don't see how a sane person could come to that outcome when this person is saying, "Hey, I am setting a standard for my establishment
My
that
establishment, not yours.
right, right,
Mine.
that creates a safe and respectful environment for all parties involved." How is it that him adding a curse word in that more offensive to you than the chick twerking in the restaurant?
The several chicks, 3 tables of chicks.
Wow. Selective outrage.
But you're gonna skip over that. It
Ay, ay, ay. I,
the voluntary ignorance.
it is.
You
It's
know,
um,
and
that's
y'all,
so sad.
this brother is trying to have a successful business. And here y'all come. Can't have that. Nope. I heard this brother try to have a nice, decent, respectful restaurant. Let's go tear that up.
Right. But on the flip side of that, in dating, oh, I want a man who respects women and, all of this stuff. This is what you want. But when there's somebody actually holding that standard, it's
Mm,
problematic.
right.
We have to really check ourselves and our belief system. We have to challenge how we view situations and how we see the world, because that has hypocrisy all over
Oh
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like it has become acceptable to be a hypocrite,
Hmm.
but at the same time call somebody else a hypocrite or be offended and
Mm.
appalled that somebody is calling you a hypocrite.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to be like, I just can't because my mind is just going to implode. I just can't. You just find yourself with your mouth gaped open, eyes squinted, and your hands up like, I don't know. I don't know.
Ay, ay, ay.
So
Yeah,
that was that.
yeah.
I really do just have to say, I hope his business is not affected in a negative way. I really
Yeah,
do. I, hope he is able to remain successful and that he's able over time to disassociate himself from this story
right.
because, you know, this has been a pretty huge story that a lot of people have covered. They even talked about, he was interviewed by TMZ
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I don't even want to get started on that because I have nothing for TMZ. Um, but let's move on to some different foolishness.
Ah,
uh, Again, something else someone shared with me. Oh, no, this was an article that a Facebook friend of mine posted and kind of asked people's points of view on it. And the title was, I refused to be exclusive until he proposed. Okay. So it's not a very long article. And I so much want you all to hear the true story and context to give it, the true bite. Okay, so it starts off, I'm an empowered woman of the 21st century. I run a company, I have a master's degree, and earn a handsome six-figure salary. I'm gonna stop there. What that got to do with nothing?
ah.
Okay, what this got to do with this man who you gonna get engaged? Okay, then it says, yet at heart, I am and have always been a lover of old-fashioned romance. She says that as if the two cannot go together. The yet. Like, so a woman can't run a company, have a master's degree, and earn a six-figure salary and like old-fashioned romance. She says that like she's some sort of anomaly. Okay. There's always been something very endearing to me about the idea of a man stepping up to claim me. It makes me feel special and cherished when someone makes an effort to win my heart, surprising me with flowers or jewelry or picking up the bill on a date. Not because I can't afford to pay for myself, because don't forget, she got a six-figure income, but because he enjoys treating me. I realized early on that this is how I wanted to date. I wanted to be courted. I wanted someone who would make an effort. I wanted a man who was willing to commit and offer me a ring without taking years to decide if I was the one for him. So that's what I set out to get when I first met my husband, Chris. I just caught something. I've read this probably a few times. She says she wants to be courted. So courtship means that it's just the two of y'all exclusively. So how you gonna do that if you not gonna make if you're not gonna be exclusive until he proposes? That don't work. Them two them two don't match. Okay. Uh After 8 weeks of dating, Chris wanted me to be his girlfriend. It was very clear that we liked each other, that there was attraction and compatibility, and for him, exclusivity was the natural next step for most people. But I thought his offer was weak. Hmm. With me as his girlfriend, he would get full access to me. He would sleep in my bed, lean on me for emotional support, show me off to his friends, and enjoy my company at family gatherings. That would all be very nice, but it wouldn't give me any assurance about the future, which is what I needed to feel safe. The offer I wanted included a proposal and being told I would forever be his one and only. In his defense, you might ask, how could he know so soon? He needs time to get to know you. That's exactly my point. Why should I shut down all my options while someone test drives me? I know many women don't mind that risk and often want the trial period with a potential partner themselves. I hold no judgment against them, but that path wasn't for me. My past experience had taught me that once in the girlfriend zone, I started to hope the relationship would lead to marriage, and every time it didn't, I got my heart broken. So when Chris asked me to be his girlfriend, I refused. I told him I really liked him, but I didn't want to be exclusive. I would continue dating him while also spending time with other men. And if things started to get serious with someone else, I would let him know. But I made sure he understood I didn't plan on being any man's girlfriend. So he didn't think my refusal was just about him. My philosophy, may the best man win. Lo and behold, the best man did win, and he turned out to be Chris. After 9 months of seeing me, Chris got down on one knee with the most gorgeous diamond and sapphire ring I'd ever seen and told me he couldn't imagine his life without me. Today, we're blissfully married and have been blessed with a healthy baby boy. I have everything I ever wanted. We often sit together and laugh about how hard it was for Chris to date a woman like me, but also how powerful an experience I had created for him. He says I inspired him to dig deeper into his heart to consider whether I was the right person for him. Other women before me had been much easier to date, but they never forced him to think about settling down. And he confesses he was scared another man would sweep me off my feet if he didn't gather his guts and commit. Was all this easy for me? Hell no. It pushed me way beyond my comfort zone. There were times when it was hard to believe there could be a man on the planet who would gladly accommodate me. A part of me feared my experiment might fail and leave me alone and heartbroken again. And yet it felt so empowering to stick to what I wanted in love, to be able to articulate it, to draw boundaries, and for once not to care about what made a man happy, but what made me happy. Your thoughts, Madam Butterfly.
um, well, first and foremost, clearly, um, that decision was from a place of brokenness.
Mm,
Um, for her to even state that, she was basically trying to avoid heartbreak. And
exactly.
so she was willing to put somebody through hoops and manipulate
Mm-hmm.
in order to ensure a certain outcome.
Mm,
And I know we've talked about that in a past episode with,
mm-hmm.
as far as me finding it problematic to manipulate someone into, trying to get a certain outcome.
Mm-hmm.
So I find that problematic. It's interesting to me that everything that she was talking about was based around her own comfort level.
Mm,
So you've had this history of men who whom you, I guess, poured into and it
mm-hmm.
wasn't reciprocated. So you decided, okay, now I'm only going to care about my own comfort level
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to try to find somebody in, you know, in that way.
Yeah.
I wonder, she says they're blissfully married now. I would be interested to hear his perspective or his experience in this
Mm-hmm.
relationship because if she went into it, if the dynamic that they entered into this union with no in between, they're dating to union,
Mm-hmm.
um, where she was basically only considering her own feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Did she at some point just snap into caring about how he feels?
Mm,
Is there a true partnership now? Like, did she just flip a switch and all of a sudden now she cares about how he feels when she was able to get that diamond and sapphire ring without
mm.
caring about him at all? Like, what would prompt her to behave differently if
Right.
she got everything? Because basically what she was saying was, I can't I can't be his girlfriend. I can't, let him have access to me and all of this stuff because I need to create a standard in order for me to get what I want.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to be his girlfriend and let him think that we can just ride this wave
Mm-hmm.
without commitment because I have this standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Which is code word for issue.
right. So now that you have set this quote unquote standard and he has acquiesced to this standard, what happens with the dynamic of the marriage? Because this is how he won you,
Mm,
was you digging your feet in the sand to have your own way,
mm-hmm.
right? And he's allowing you to have your own way because he wants to be with you. But at some point, he's going to be like, wait a minute, how I feel matters.
Mm-hmm.
I need to be fulfilled in this marriage. And we've created this pattern of behavior that makes how I feel null and void.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what has actually happened.
Yeah.
And it's all coming from, I'm going to find a way to control and manipulate the situation because I'm trying to avoid heartache. I
Yeah.
don't want to be hurt anymore. So rather than having a genuine, authentic experience with another human being and then sharing my life with a person based on that authentic experience, I'm going to create this contrived situation
Mm-hmm.
to get you to do what it is that I want to do.
Yeah.
And somehow that's supposed to be like it's supposed to be celebrated.
Mm.
Like that's bizarre to me. And
It
then,
is.
with her stating about her financial situation and all of that kind of stuff, what I think she was trying to, or at least this is what I took from it, is that she has more of the traditional worldview, right? As far as dating and mating, so to speak.
Mm.
She wants to be courted, she wants to be pursued, she wants the man to kind of lead, and, she's kind of like the object of desire and affection and all of this kind of stuff. But at the same time, she's like a powerhouse. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like financially, the powerhouse. So I guess for her, that would be like opposing forces, so to speak. I don't really know. I don't really know. Either way it goes, I think that both of them are two fools that deserve each other. And I am not naive enough to believe that they are in a blissful marriage.
If she
Because of
said
the
they
way that it's
are,
done.
Kim, they in a blissful marriage. What
Right.
she say?
Right. That's right. She declared it blissful. He crying in the car, but
She said, "Ain't you
she
blissful?" That's right. We blissful.
and he probably in the back of the video, like trying to blink twice for assistance. But what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on it?
Oh,
Because that's a whole lot.
she. This is a whole big ball of confusion and contradiction. She's. I mean, she made it clear she's coming from a place of brokenness and hurt. The whole reason she did all of this is, because of the hurt and disappointment she's had in past relationships. Now, we're not privy to information about details of those relationships. All she says is, "Oh, I was disappointed, where there was no commitment." We don't know why. But I'm going to tell you, it bothers me that she starts off validating herself, which is what she's
Mm-hmm.
doing,
Right.
by naming what she does and what she has.
Right.
So you first want to validate yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And display your supposed value by
Mm-hmm.
saying, "I run a company, I have a master's degree, and I have a six-figure salary,"
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. Then she goes into, she likes old-fashioned romance. No, you don't. You don't. You don't want to be courted. And if you do, you don't know what courtship is.
Right.
Because courtship is not deciding that you want to date a group of people until one of them gets nervous and decides to propose to you.
Right.
I don't know what that is. That, you know what? That is The Bachelor. That's what that is. That's what that is. She decided that she wanted, or The Bachelorette. She decided she wanted to be a
Oh.
bachelorette.
Oh, that's funny.
I mean,
That's true.
that's
That is so
exactly what it
true.
is. I mean, it's absolute ridiculousness. So if she truly wanted courtship and she truly wanted a man to seek her, which is pretty much what she's saying, then that means you do take the risk. That takes risk on both parts, right? you take the risk of giving this man your time,
Mhm.
and attention, and you date. And then when you get to a point and you say, you know what, I really like this person, and I think I want to spend more time just with them and get to know them, and I want them to spend time with me and just get to know me.
Mhm.
And courtship proceeds. Like, you don't you don't get to do this without risk.
Mhm.
It just doesn't all make sense to me. And for her to say, oh well, I got what I wanted in the end, you know without being concerned about what he wanted, are we supposed to be like, gone girl? No, this is a hot mess.
No, Lisa, we're supposed to co-sign her poor behavior. Come on. For the sake of feminism, let's go.
And it blows my mind how some people were commenting strictly on, well, I mean, I agree with her not wanting to be exclusive with him, without him deciding to be exclusive with her. So that's all you got out of this whole pit of mess. That's all you
Right.
got out of this.
And it's
That
not
that's not even
about
the issue at hand.
at all because it's going from dating whomever, whenever to proposal.
Like, where
And
we do that at?
I don't know what sane person would be willing to agree to that because marriage is supposed to be the most significant commitment that you can make to another person.
Mhm.
So we're going to go from willy nilly seeing whomever we're seeing, doing whatever we want to do, to the most serious commitment that there can be without any in between.
Any in between.
Nothing, no, nothing in between. So I don't even get to know what it feels like to have all of you
Mm,
before I have all of you.
yeah, yeah.
What?
And she says, why should I shut down all my options while someone test drives me? Honey, if you see yourself as being test driven, that's your issue. And she talks about, him having full access to her and sharing her bed. Who says he has to get any of that? That's up to you, whether that's what you allow while you guys are dating or while you're his girlfriend.
Mhm.
You set the standard. It's your body, it's your space. No one said he has to get that.
Right.
So you bitter because that's what you've been given, and then there's no return. Like,
And that's what it is because just like you said in the beginning with her validating herself by um, talking about her financial
mm-hmm,
status and her you know educational background and all of
mm-hmm,
that, basically what she's trying to say is that I am worth a certain thing, you
mm-hmm,
know and that thing is 100% fidelity or whatever.
yeah,
I haven't gotten what I'm worth.
mm,
And so now I'm going to rig the playing field so that I can somehow ensure that I get what I'm worth based upon my stats. You know what
mm,
I mean? Because
yeah,
when we talk about character, right, we see that this is someone who's manipulative, who's
mm-hmm,
selfish, right,
yeah,
who's conniving, right? Who's clearly vindictive. And the thing is, the guy that she ended up marrying wasn't even the one that committed the violation. It was
mm-hmm,
somebody else.
yeah,
But she had him pay for what somebody else did.
yep,
So you got vindictive, conniving, selfish, right? All of
confused,
these things. But she makes six figures,
mm-hmm,
right? So we're looking at this is a person's value system. You know, she values social standing,
mm-hmm,
economic status over character building.
mm,
And he's willing to go from dating to marriage without any in between. These are two broken people
Yeah.
that, you know, cosmically were brought together through foolery.
Yeah.
And it's a hot mess.
It's a hot
And I would
mess.
really like to hear his perspective without her anywhere around,
Good
and
luck.
with the assurance of him not having any type of retribution.
Mm. It's gonna be like that interview with Whitney Houston, and Bobby Brown was in the back, like, and he eventually couldn't take it anymore and just came out there with her. Do you remember that interview?
I think so. I think so. Because were they like
I
kind of
think it was
making it
Barbara
seem like,
Walters.
huh?
I think it was with Barbara Walters, if I remember right.
I think so. And because like once he was beside her, she was like trying to, you could tell that she was trying to dim her light
Mm-hmm.
so that he wouldn't um feel like his light was being compromised in any kind of way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it was
Yeah.
like, let me lift him up and push myself to the background in order for him to feel okay with this
Mm.
whole situation, this whole dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was just tomfoolery, and I was just really baffled by seeing different women's responses in this, and it's like, so like am I the only one that like sees just all of this wrong in this whole article? Literally from the first sentence to the last, for her to say, I did all this not caring what a man thinks or wants, but what I want.
Mm,
But you married a man.
right.
So
uh,
this tells him she has committed to you for the rest of her life to not care what you want. Congratulations.
but we're blissfully married, though.
Mm.
They're in bliss, Lisa.
She's in bliss because she got somebody that's going to do whatever she wants. I mean, I guess that is bliss. I don't want a man that's going to do whatever I want.
Me either.
I
Not at all.
mean, if I want that, I get a dog.
Well,
Just saying.
and when I think about when I think about marriage, the way that I view marriage is we are servants to each other. You
Mm-hmm.
know, God has blessed me with him, and God has blessed him with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we are to serve each other. And so, if only my needs are being met, my spirit is not going to sit well with that
Yeah.
because I'm not then doing my duty. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Because we're both children of the Creator, right? We are
Mm-hmm.
the created. And so we have a responsibility to each other.
Yeah.
So if I'm how can I sit over here happy as a clam because I'm getting everything that I want and he's sitting over in the corner miserable because
Yeah.
he's getting nothing.
Yeah.
Like no, every single day I'm trying to find ways to serve my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And some people may think that that sounds crazy or whatever, but what I would say to those people is you don't truly understand what marriage is
Yeah.
from the from a perspective of creator and creation.
Mm.
Because I don't want to align it with any particular religious ideology,
Yeah.
right? But from the perspective of we are the created and we are supposed to show up in the world in a certain way and treat people in a certain way. This person that you have this life bond with, that would be the person that you hold in the highest reverence when you're
Yeah.
talking about man on this earth, you
Because
know?
you chose them.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
And
not
you've
like with
entered
family, you just kind
into,
of thrown together. You chose
right.
them.
You've entered into a bond unlike any other. And so if you don't want to serve him, or if you find it problematic to serve him, then why are you getting married? You know,
Save
and if
yourself.
if he has it, feels that it's problematic in order to serve you, then why is he getting married? You know what I mean? Because you can get all of this stuff by being single. You might have to piecemeal it. You might have to have 50, 11 different people in order to get a whole unit. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? But there's no point, in my view, of entering into a marriage if you're not willing to drop all of the pretense, completely humble yourself, and be an open vessel for your partner.
Yeah.
Period.
Unfortunately, I see, you know, the purpose and the point people find because, you know, people like to pervert a lot of things, including marriage. So people do get married for money, to just
Mhm,
have someone that they can control,
mhm,
but to have that someone there with, they want someone there with them all the
mhm,
time. So they marry just for their own needs and wants.
mhm,
Yeah, I think people do it all the time. And you can have two selfish people that are each marrying each other for their own selfish reasons. They have no regard for the other person, but that other person is going to give them, certain things they need and want. They have no
mhm.
interest in actively giving them what they need and want. You get
For
what I'm
real.
saying? They're still getting something from them, but they're like, I'm not interested in what you need and want. I'm
Mhm.
glad you like looking at me. It's cool if my check, is something you can use. But as far as me making a concerted effort, no, I'm good. Yeah,
That's
I
real.
think people do that all the time.
That's real.
Um,
That's so real. What I thought about was, women who want so badly to be chosen, you
mhm,
know, because there's this stigma. If you're 30 plus and you don't have a husband,
mhm,
you know what I mean, you're viewed in a certain way.
absolutely,
That's just real. Like a
absolutely.
man, he can be a bachelor and it's considered cool and all of that kind of stuff. Look at the George Clooney's of the world. Wait to
Yeah.
get married until they're like 50 years old or whatever, and that seems like the cool thing.
Yep.
But for women, it's like, okay, well, what's wrong with her that she can't get a man to commit to her and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. It becomes that whole conversation, and
Yeah.
so sometimes women will just marry somebody for the sake of saying that they've been chosen.
Mhm.
And you go into a situation like that. Listen, love love is a big part of marriage, but that ain't the only part.
Look.
You got to
Yeah.
be committed and faithful to that thing. And
Mhm.
that's not I'm not talking about faithful in terms of not sleeping with another person. I'm talking
Mhm.
about being faithful in the marriage as far as being committed every single day to show up and show out, because it is not easy.
Yep.
It
It's
is
true.
not easy. You are faced with your own self
Yep.
time after time. You walking around thinking that you just the bee's knees, and then you have this partner that's just conveniently showing you yourself in the mirror,
Mm.
and vice versa. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you got to figure that thing out in
Yeah.
order
It's
to
true.
build something that's real,
It's
and that
true.
comes through the service.
Yeah. You have to be willing to give of yourself every day, even when you are like, look, I ain't got nothing else to give. Like Claire Huxtable, the college, I have nothing left to give. You better squeeze it out. But these dishes got to be washed. Look, he need to be fed.
That's
Shirts
right.
need to be ironed. Look, chop chop.
That's
See,
real.
that's where that love comes in.
Right? It's
You
true.
know.
And men, I think that there's a huge misconception that all men need is sex. And that
Mm-hmm.
is so far from the truth. You know what I mean? They have
Mm-hmm.
emotional needs
Yep.
just like we have emotional needs.
Yep.
And we have to be, it's like we expect them to have all of this sensitivity and all of this tenderness when it comes to what we want. But then we don't really care about what it is that they want and need.
Right.
Like, it is a true commitment, sacrifice, service, faithfulness. And when you're coming from a place of brokenness, like, it makes it 10 times harder for
It
you to
does.
be able to succeed. You got to clear all of that stuff up and not be looking for somebody to just fill those holes, because, as Israel Houghton said in one of his songs, you have a God sized void
Mm,
that only God can fill. So you looking to somebody else to fill a God sized void. It is impossible.
girl,
It is impossible.
now that's a T-shirt right there. It's true. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a good one. I'm sure, as always, controversial. I'm sure. Can't wait to see the comments. But guys, we do enjoy seeing your comments as I speak on that. So thank you to everyone who listens and drops comments at the bottom. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you listening. Please continue to listen, subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. So thank you for joining us. I am Lisa, aka Lady Lisa.
And I'm Madam Butterfly. Peace, love, and light.
All right, yeah. So again, check us out every Friday. Check out thatnerdsoul.com and shop thatnerdsoul.com. In addition, don't forget Curo Brand.
That's right, guys. Curo Brand is a Virginia-based apparel business that's influenced by streetwear, art, culture, and modern design practices. Please check them out. They can be reached at curobrand.com. That's www.kurobrand.com.
All right. So thank you guys once again. Bye, y'all.